Welcome to Art and Soul Insider. I'm Barbara Lynn Burns, and I'm here to help you find your joy, your creativity, and calm through art and wellness. Whether it's exploring new supplies, guided meditations, or inspiring art projects, this is your space to recharge and create. So let's make more art and less stress together. Here we go. Hello, my name is Barb. As you know from the start, for those that know that I'm sick. My voice is a little off. So today I'm going to do something a little different. For those that know, my channel is all about art and wellness. I believe art heals, and more art, less stress. I truly believe, from my own life, art has made a difference in my healing mentally, emotionally, and has even helped me physically in some aspects because it has given my mind and my body a moment of rest. So today we're going to be doing some quick little exercises. They're going to be finished pieces, but they're going to be quicker. I'm going to be doing them on a smaller scale. But this is something more aimed for people who don't have a lot of time, that don't want to stop a work right in the middle of it and then go and do something and then come back to it 2 days later. So today we're going to do little works that will then be finished quite quickly. So if you're interested in that, hang on, and we're going to do 3 projects. So here we go. The first project we're going to need, sorry about that squeak. I'm going to be using acrylics. Now, you don't need to use acrylics if you don't have them. You could use pencil crayon. You could use acrylic markers. You could use watercolors. On top of the acrylics for the background, I'm going to be using a pen. Now, these are fancy pens. You might not have them. Well, try some Sharpies. If you don't have Sharpies, try a good old black pen. These will work. So, first things first, I'm going to do something a little different. You might not need to do this or want to do this. It's all up to you. I'm going to make kind of a funky little border around. So, I'm taking my tape, okay? And this notebook that I have, I'm going to be doing all my works in. And this notebook is 5.5 inches and by 8 inches. So not very big. See, here's my hand. Okay. So I'm just going to, like I said, do something different. Instead of straight, I'm just going to curve this. Now this can be a little tricky because it'll want to attach to your scissors, right? So I'm just kind of winging it here, seeing how it goes. Sometimes it works great, and sometimes stuff sticks. Hopefully that did not destroy the, the bond that I want. So I've got a perforated edge here. So, or no, do I? Gee, I forget with this one. No perforated edge. So I'm just going to go right about here and do this, okay? Now I'm going to do another one because I want one on the other side, right? Make sure that you go past your edges, right? You want to go past the edges of your book because, well, then it's for sure being taken from end to end of your book. Now, if you find this difficult to do, you don't need to do it. But if you do have painter's tape, which I really love using because it comes off quite easily. Do I want that? Okay. Yeah, let's make it that big. So I'm trying to go to the edge of the paper. There we go. Okay, press it down, right? We really want that edge to be stuck down because when we lift the tape, it's going to be, well, we'll have that nice edge, right? So this part of the project takes work. I mean, takes work, it takes time too. So if you want to quicken the movement up a bit, then don't do it. But, you know me. For those that do know me and follow my channel, I love the reveal of taking off the tape. It does something really wonderful. I don't know. It just really makes me happy. It's funny, the simple things in life. Being sick like I am today, it was a tough day. And, when you've had those sick moments, you know what I'm talking about. Your body, well, your mind wants to do something, but your body is fighting it all the way. So like for today, I was like, I've got and I want to film. But my body was saying, I think we need to just stay in bed or just stay seated for a bit longer. And so I did. Because I believe it's important to listen to your body. Too often in our society, and probably as you know, we have not listened to our bodies, right? We have just pushed ourselves. So I'm just going to take white paint. This is titanium paint. Now, another option is, a really cool option, is you can add a gel medium to this to add some texture to it. I am just going to be painting it down. So there's nothing special here, And, you say, why are you painting when it's a white paper? Well, sometimes there is a difference in the whiteness, okay? Sometimes the paper can have a little bit of a yellow texture to it. So that's what I'm kind of thinking it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I know there's going to be a neat, different texture on the paper because I have painted it. So you want to make sure with your white paper, or white paint, sorry, you want to cover everything. And I'm not trying to make things smooth here with my brush strokes. I'm kind of going every bit of direction, here, there, everywhere. And I'm okay with that. Because to me, it's going to just show a little bit of, it's not going to show a whole lot of texture, but it's just going to show some different strokes at a different angle maybe. So again, I'm just kind of filling it in where I need to fill it in. And then I'm going to take my trusty old dryer, which I love because, again, it kind of speeds up the process. Just want to make sure I got that spot. Make sure you get all your edges, right? Because that's what we've done with this funky little edge, is we want to make sure. And I'm kind of, looks like I've missed a spot there. So kind of, because when it's drying, your acrylic, when it's wet, that's the better term, it's shiny. It has a little shine to it. But when it starts to dry, it goes matte. That is kind of what this lovely acrylic does. So I'm just looking, look at that, I missed a little bit there, just to see if I covered everything. And I have. So, I'm just going to clean my brush. Okay, take out the excess, and then I'm going to put it in my water. Very important, remember, acrylic is glue. So you don't want to leave the acrylic in your brushes. I got a hair in here, and I think it's sticking. Oh, look at that. It's moving. I have movement. There we go. Oh my goodness. Isn't that funny how it just... Where did that appear? Probably from one of my cats. You know how it is, all you animal lovers, right? Oh, look at that. I think I've got another hair down here. Oh, it's so funny. This is the first time in all the years that I've owned animals that it's happened. Because as you saw in the beginning, I am in my basement. This is where my studio is. I have a nice big table here. And it's not a table. It's actually a creative table, like a drafting table. And so that's what I have. And I have all my supplies here. I've got some shelves built and everything like that. So I am going to be using 2 paints that are already created. So I don't need to add white to make these lighter. The reason why I'm choosing these is I'm going to be going off of the color wheel. And the color wheel here, if you look, blue, I'm going to do it this way because it's the way on the color wheel here. Blue is here. Violet or, purple is here. They are close on the color wheel. They are called analogous colors. So with that, they just go together really well. Now, I'm taking it a next step in the fact that this is a light blue and this is a light purple. Okay, so kind of a little different. So just going to take some paint. I don't need much. If you need more, you can always add more. I just like to add just as much as I think I need. And then if I need more, I can always get it. So again, I'm going to use the previous brush I used, I forgot to tell you, was a 3/4 inch brush. This one is just one of those craft brushes I got. It's all Craftsmart, which is, I believe, I found it at Michael's, okay? And it's a flat brush. This is number 10, okay? Nothing special. I just kind of like using them. I'm going to do the purple really big. So I'm basically going to create blobs. I'm going to create 2 blobs. So I'm going to create a big blob and a little blob. And I'm trying to get that nice crisp line. Oops. Did a little blob, little excess out there. That's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I want to paint it solid. Now you might find, and then I'm finding on this, oh, it says it's opaque. You see right there, it says opaque, but right now I'm seeing a lot of white underneath, so I don't know if I believe them. Oh, okay, here you go. So it is moving, and when it moves, which makes sense, that's what most paint does, where it's wet here, see it's pulled off the paint. So I'm just moving kind of semi-dried paint, and it's not working. It doesn't like that. So what I'll have to do is do best coat that I can right now. Then good old blow dryer will come in and help me. And then I'll do another coat and it will solidify it. Okay. There. Looks like a peanut. Okay, here we go. Blow dry. See how it is covering up those areas where I pulled the paint. I am surprised. This is actually, I think, my first time using this paint. And I am surprised by how dark it is compared to the bottle. Very interesting. Now, possibly for the movement with my purple paint here, it could have been my white was not 100% dry either. So I thought it was, but maybe it wasn't. So that maybe pulled the paint away. And I think we're getting close here. I'm going to lift it so I can see. Oh, gotta just do this edge here. I'm going to go like this. There we go. And do this edge. You want your edges to be nice and solid with the paint. Oh, I see another little one right here. Can you see that right there? I'm going to, there we go. Okay. Take my fabric, my little towel here that I throw in the wash every now and again. It's almost at that time, you know. And put it in the water. I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to be using it for my blue. Now, dry your brush because you don't want water going into your paint. The plasticity of the paint, oh, I already have blue, doesn't necessarily like it being broken down with water. If you want to thin your acrylics, oh, gotta dry, sorry. If you want to thin your acrylics, there are additives that you can add to your paints in order to do that. Seeing right at the top here, yeah, I want that more solid. So that you can even make, there's this additive that you can add to your acrylics to make it even pourable. So you can thin your acrylics so much that you can make this thick paint pourable. So you could pour it. So you could do like that resin work and stuff like that. That resin work that you see, you can do variously, almost the same as what you're doing with acrylics. So with the additive in there. If I had, this is just an extra dryer that I got, that when I got a new one, I just brought this down to my room down here. This dryer does not have a cool setting on. I wish it did, because the acrylic is a plastic, as I told you before. And it, well, with the heat, it starts to it's got that melting point, right? So it's a good idea for your acrylic paint to be cooler, right? Room temperature when you start to paint. So that, therefore, a cool setting on your blow dryer would be a nice addition, because then you could bring it closer to room temperature, yet still getting air to it for it to dry. I've got my little brush here. I'm going to make a little bean now. Okay, I'm probably going to go like this, or maybe an oval. Yeah, I think maybe an oval. We'll see. Intuition and my brush will lead me. I'm not used to bringing my brush up like that. That's not an unusual stroke for me. So this paint is opaque, so it won't have a transparency. You have to watch when you're wanting a solid on top of another color, because some acrylics aren't opaque. They are called semi-translucent or translucent. And that means you can see underneath. When you have done your coats of paint with it, You can actually see the color underneath. So you may be wanting to do something like this, but it's not going to work because the paint just isn't built that way. So you always have to be aware when you're putting one color on top of another that this color that you're working with is actually going to be opaque, if that's what you're wanting. So because you can kind of see the purple underneath, you see that? And then it's lighter here. You can see some lightness. That does not mean that it's translucent. That means I just haven't gotten my coats right because the bottle says it's opaque. It's opaque. So I trust that. So my guess with this second coat, it will show that. That is the beauty of paint. They've wonderful things, especially with these higher end. These two are very student-oriented. Liquitex, you know, the basics, and the Artist Loft. This is from Michael's, which is well, I know it's in Canada. I'm not sure where else it is, but it's a big box craft store, basically. So this is their brand. And I know that, you know, these are really good prices, and that these ones also, they've done the testing as well. There's other ones, such as, they're called craft paints. I don't have an example on me right now, but they are actually wonderful paints, but they do not tell whether they're translucent or whether they're opaque. It doesn't say anything like that. It doesn't tell you its light fastness, which means how well it will survive after years of being in the light. You know how paintings fade and stuff like that. That's what life fastness is all about. So these ones that are a little more high quality, number one, they have more paint in them, okay? And then number two, they've got the testing behind them to really help you know what's going to work best, okay? So that's kind of what you pay for. But hey, I use the craft paint too. I love them, just like anyone. So I'm going to let that dry now, okay? Then we're going to be taking our ink pens. Before I do my ink, I'm looking over my edges here. Okay, it's a little fuzzy here. This is the perfectionist in me, you know? So this is a little fuzzy, that line. And I noticed, see that black? That purple? I'm seeing a little white underneath there. So this is going to take more time, naturally. So I'm actually not helping myself here, improving my point. You can do these quick. Just because I'm wanting it to be a bit better. Okay, there we go. Clean my brush. And I'm going to get that fuzzy part right there. Now it looks a little lighter here too. I've got a little blob of paint here. So this is going to be a little tricky. I've got some blobs here, right? So that's three-dimensional. That it means I've done a pull with my brush and I've left paint behind. So it can be worked around. You just have to take your time. The key that I recommend, if you're feeling stressed and you're wanting to do artwork, really try to focus on the work. Do not think of the other stressors in your life. Focus on what is working for you here and now as you paint. This whole idea of using art as a stress relief is for you to let go of the world, to take a break from the world, for you just to be here and right now focusing on your brush strokes, for you to spend some time with yourself and with your paints or with your inks or whatever it is, for you to enjoy yourself. This is called a form of mindfulness. That means you are only focusing on your breathing and what's happening here at this moment. Nothing else. It seems very simple, but it's very hard for us to do. But that's what I love about art, is it actually takes our brains away from things and lets us just be here, right now, in this moment. What I'm going to do is I am going to take, what do I want? This one was running out, I think, on me. Yeah, it's kind of, you know how it gets kind of, I don't know, it shows, it shows itself there, you know, a little of the paper underneath. This is much better. Yeah, okay. Do I want to work with something that thick? Yes, I do. I'm not going to work with it this way, okay? I'm not going to use that thick side. I'm using the point right here, okay? Want to make sure everything's dry. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to take a leaf and I'm going to do an outline of the leaf. I am going to do one interior line, which is this, you know, the stem of the leaf kind of coming up. But the rest of it, I'm going to do just on the outside. Now, I could do two ways. After all this work with the paint, you might want to go and use a pencil and to draw in lightly your pencil, your leaf line. Okay? I'm going to use my good old, boy, you can tell I'm not well. This is a Sharpie. The word's right here. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to start with my middle line. And I'm going to kind of make it not necessarily a line. You see, I've done a double line on it. Okay, so then I want to do the top of the leaf like that. I like this leaf because it uses wobbly lines. You do not have to be straight in order to show this type of leaf. Okay? There. And then I'm going to bring this out here. And I'm going to come in. Again, wobbly lines I'm using. Okay, and then I'm coming in. And I'm coming in like that. Little inside like that. Coming out. And then joining. There you go. Now, I could do more with it. I could do a double line, like take a finer Sharpie like this and do a double line. You know what? I think I am. I'm adding to this. I'm making this actually longer than it needs to be. But I'm just going to kind of go in and out of my line here that I have. I am not, notice I'm starting on this side. I am right-handed, so I'm going left to right. The reason why I'm going left to right is I do not want to sick brain again. I don't want to smudge. There you go. That's the word, Barb. Smudge the line. So I am just going like this, left to right, like that. There you go. There, I like that. I like that better. Yep. That works for me. Oh, I pulled the paint back here. You see that? There we go. Okay. So I like it because see how this is kind of squiggly? That kind of works for me. Okay, so now we pull off the tape. Now, are we going to see a difference? We might not. I just like doing something a little extra. Now, this is going to be a little tricky with the cut line. Oops, there we go. Oh yeah, there is a visual difference. And then on the top here. Now to ease this coming off, here's another hint you can use. You can use your heat of your hairdryer to actually encourage this to release. Because what it does is it heats up the glue, right? And then it pulls easy. There we go. You have to be careful when you're releasing because, well, it's paper that you're attached to. So why did I use white? I used white because it's a neutral color. So there are neutral colors. They are called white, black, gray is a neutral color. So you could have colored it gray. Brown is a neutral color. And even now, in some circles, they say navy blue is a neutral color. And I actually use it as a neutral myself in my work. So, and you will find that those colors go well with every color. Isn't that neat? Okay, so here we go. Here's our final piece. You know, you can kind of see the little sheen from the acrylic paint. And there we go. There's our first one. Done. Okay, here we are for number 2. We are going to be using mixed media for this one. So I'm going to use my watercolors. This set I love. This is by One Philosophy, and it's called their Tropical Set. So look at those tropical colors. Oh my gosh, they make me so happy. Really, it's so weird how colors can make me so happy. I'm just going to clean this off. So we're going to do a silhouette, okay? And a silhouette is, it's an outline shape of objects, and it's all black. So, you know how sometimes you look into the sunset and things in the distance, it just looks black against the sunset? That's what we're doing. So we're going to create our sunset with this, and then I'm going to be using acrylics, okay, for the silhouettes. And we're going to do some trees. So here we go. I'm going to tape. Let's see if you can see. Want to make sure you can see it. There's no use of me doing this if you can't see. Well, I do it for myself, but it's like It's really nice to have you along. I appreciate your comments so much. Again, if you have any suggestions on things you would like to see, please let me know. It's the teacher in me. I always strive to learn new things, but I love to be able to share it with all of you. So, if that interests you, okay, please share with me a technique you'd like to learn, materials you'd like me to share with you, that type of thing. Okay, so what's going to be nice is once we remove the tape at the end, we're going to have a nice frame. Okay, so let's get going on the watercolors. So here we go. We're going to do what's called a gradation. Oops, I'm going to use a different color water. That's for my acrylics last time. So, got tape everywhere. Here we go. So what you want to do is wet your paper first. I forgot to actually make sure this was all sealed by press. I always do a little extra press, except for what you saw right there. I didn't do one. So now I'm going to take my yellow. Okay. I've got a very big brush for a very small pan. These are half pans. I'm going to then be spreading the yellow all across like that. Perfect. Then I'm going to take the orange. Okay, this is my orange. It's a very powerful orange because it is part of the tropical thing. So I'm going to do my orange, about 3/4 down like that. Just let it sit. It's going to do its own meddling, okay? Now I'm going to do this red. Okay, here's the red. Let's just kind of put it there. And then I'm just going to put the red on top, just as an edge there. And a little bit like maybe over there for it to bleed. And I'm going to just leave it like that. Okay, I really made mine soupy, which I mean really wet. You might not want yours really wet like that, okay? You want it wet for the wet on wet to work, but mine's really soupy and it might actually dilute the colors. But I'm just going to go like this, taking a little bit of my paper towel, and I'm going to do a kind of a cloud coming in here. Like that. There we go. Just a little cloud showing. This is the first time for me to do a wet, like a sunset with this. And I can't believe how the yellow disappeared. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to do what's called a glaze. Glazing is when this is dry, you take your color, okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water. I really souped it up. And I'm going to go the opposite direction, okay, like that. Okay. And then, again, I'm going to dry my brush a bit, not so soupy. Take the orange. It's a powerful orange, but I'm going to go through the red here. Try not to go over my cloud like that, and just bring it down like that. There we go. And I've lifted my brush a few areas, see here? So it looks like little clouds. So that is called glazing. And then when I put the orange on top, that was called wet on wet because the paper was then wet. I'm lifting some of the paint away. It's not going to be as intense. Oh, I think I did yes, I did. This is called a bubble or blossoms. And that blossoms are when you add more water to the paper and you get these little kind of broccolis. This is very interesting for me to actually do this because I'm not used to, I've got very high quality watercolors. I've got I've got Winsor Newton and all that on completely different big palette where I make my own colors and that. These palettes are just for quick kind of fun pieces that I don't have to do any color mixing or anything. But I find they have a harder time with wet on wet. So they seem to dilute themselves. That's an interesting find for me. See, I love it. I love learning new things like that. And I hope you will always be learning like that as well in your work. So now let's begin with the acrylics. So I'm going to bring my palette and bring my acrylic paint. This is dry, okay? And how you can tell it's dry is that your paper is not cool to the touch. When your paper is cool to your touch, it means it still is wet or it has moisture in it. Actually, it has some moisture in right there. I'm going to be taking a flat brush, okay? So I'm going to use, for the ground, I'm going to use a 3/4. It is a Princeton art brush, okay? I got this, I believe, from Amazon. With me living in a small town, I don't live close to I live like, well, about an hour and a half, which isn't bad, right? An hour and a half away from a big city. So I don't really get to the city all that often. When I was younger and when I was, teaching and stuff like that, I'd always be going in for supplies and things like that. But now, not so much. I am retired from teaching, so I'm teaching online. I do teach lessons naturally online, and I teach them in person as well. Yeah, it's the teacher in me wants to keep teaching. And in order to bring in some extra money, naturally I sell my courses and everything like that, but I also want to give back. So I am working at the hospital, and I work as a therapy assistant in the recreation department. And you go, what's recreation? I I work part-time at the recreation department in the long-term care unit. So this is where people live in the hospital. And most often they will not be going home. So what I do is I'm responsible in providing things to enrich their mind, things to enrich their emotions, their physical aspects, just a whole bunch of things. And one of them I share with them is art, which is great. And I share mindfulness, which is what's very important. I call it stress relief for them, and it works perfectly. But we play games and we do some sports and this and that. It's great. Yeah. So that's what I do on my other days that I'm not doing my art at home here. So I'm going to create a fir tree. So you want a flat brush. This is, again, Craft Smart. I think it's just a no-name brand type of thing, but it's a number 10, whatever that means for this flat brush. Size it depends on the brand. That's what I find. So I'm just going to go down here like this to create a bark. Okay, to create a main lovely thing going up and down. Not the bark. What is it called? Trunk. There you go. Oh my goodness. Silly me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a technique which is called stippling. Stippling is, say this is the paper, it's going tap, 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 tap. You're tapping with the edge of your brush and no more, just the tip of your brush, and you're tapping back and forth. Yours is going to look completely different than mine, and that is good. It's important to do your own thing. Oops, I kind of went extra there. Don't expect perfection on the first time around, right? There we go. I'm going to go a little darker on the inside here, went a little light, because we're going to have some dark areas where it's coming out like that. Yeah, closer to the trunk, it's going to be darker. Okay, let's do another tree. I'm going to do a little shorter tree. There we go, tap, tap, tap. So this one I'm kind of crossing with it's a little more sparse, doing kind of a teepee kind of effect now. I'm kind of changing the game as I'm doing it here, it looks like, and that's what I am doing. I use my intuition a lot when I'm doing my artwork, and I encourage you to trust yourself too. There's always the times when you are learning your craft. Oh, I created too big of a stump there. But you need to try things out. And you don't know how to do the basics until you learn how to do the basics. And that's what's important. So, you know what? That's all I'm going to do for this one. You could do some ones in the distance. I'm going to leave it like that. But the beautiful thing about learning is that there's so much to learn. And you could help your learning by focusing on one thing alone. So you could focus on, say, this year I'm going to focus on acrylics. And then learn the techniques. And then once you learn the techniques, then you can try things. That's what I find so exciting. So I'm going to lift this off. Now, we'll see if the watercolor, it looked like it bled a little bit here, see, underneath. So we'll see. See how it bled on the tape? I'm going to bring this closer for you to see there. See that? Okay. There's that tape. And I think this one bled underneath as well. Oh, yeah, it did. Look at that. It's still wet. Okay. A little bleeding on the sides there. Now here on the bottom. A little bleeding on here as well. Again, remember what I said. I didn't press this down when I did it. And usually I press the outside edges down. Now, is that going to guarantee that it doesn't do it? No. Nothing is perfect yet in the taping department. This is sure a lot better, but it's not perfect. And you need to accept the imperfection. Life is imperfect. We are imperfect, therefore our art's going to be imperfect. There you go. There's another one for you. Be gentle with yourself. Okay, for the third piece we're going to be doing, we are going to be using acrylic markers. They are so much fun. I tell you, I really like these. These ones, there's amazing ones called Posca. I have not yet gotten any Poscas, but one day I will. But these ones are just great as well. These ones I got from, probably you've heard of Temu, Temu. This is a company that sells online. Maybe I should do the whole thing. Should I do the whole thing? No, I like a frame. I've got a little bit of paint here. You know how you can prevent this? Here's an extra little tip. You can get wax paper and put it underneath. So I'm working on this sheet. Underneath, I'd put wax paper that's larger than this, put it down, put this on top, and then work on it. That works perfect. This is basically my fun little book that I try techniques out on. I, just kind of play around in. This is also the book that I use when I'm introducing supplies to you for the first time. So I try it out on this type of paper. Now, thing to note, that supplies act differently on whatever they're being put on. What that is called is their support. So this paper is a support. Canvas is a support. Wood is a support. Some people paint on fabric. The fabric is a support. Anything you put your artwork on, okay, that is a support. That is the basics, a basis of your work. Naturally, your materials are going to operate differently on paper compared to fabric. So what you have to do, if you are working on a piece and someone's commissioned you to do a jacket, you actually have to go out and buy some fabric, whatever the fabric the jacket is, and paint on that to test it out. You can't test it out on paper, right? So just be aware when I'm testing things out on paper and showing them to you, they may or may not work on whatever you're choosing to do. So just be aware of that. Now, what I'm going to do is, this is a wonderful, mindful exercise. I was going to also say mindless, because you don't have to focus on anything. This is going back to when you were a kid and picking your favorite color. This color is really appealing to me. And I am just going to go in and color. I'm going right up to that edge, right? Because we want to make that edge. It's really going to pop. I'm going to fill that in with the paint, okay, in a marker, which is just amazing. Some markers, you will notice, this is an automatic paint one. Some of them you have to prime, right? Like you have to punch, 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 and then go. Other ones, yeah, they're either go get them or you have to prime them, I find. Oh, this one looks like it's drying out. Look at that, huh? Oh, I'm using it more on the side here, really using it on the side. Wow. I haven't used these that much, so the thing is, and I keep reminding myself this, and I'm going to remind you, please use your supplies. That's another reason why I wanted to do these quick little creations, so that you could see a variety of materials used in a variety of ways. And use your materials. Play with them. Do not think that every work you do is going to be a masterpiece. I guarantee it won't be. Okay? But it's very important for you to try and to just come out and use those materials, play with them, and have no expectation. Remember when we were kids? We would just go, I'm making mud pies today. And you used your imagination. and you just played. Trust me, my mud pies were not anything beautiful to look at. So kind of use this as your mud pie. Play with it. Don't say, oh, I've got to do this and it has to be perfect. I've seen too many things on YouTube where you look at someone's sketchbook and every single page is beautiful. Life's not like that. And that's a lot of pressure to put on oneself. That every single picture has to be perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. So why should our art be? I view art, it's for my enjoyment. And if I'm lucky, oops, I got a little spread of something there. And if I'm lucky, other people might like it too. That I like. But I can't make it that my goal. I need to do art because I want to do art and that it fills me up. You need to fill up your cup. And you can try art for a while. You know, say you're wanting to try something that you need to fill your cup up with. Try art, right? But you might find after trying it for a bit that you'll go, you know what? I really like playing the guitar better. I'm happy for you. Do what makes your heart sing. We are so busy in our lives that, my gosh, we just need time to be good to ourselves, to let ourselves be. You know, there's the kids, there's the family, there's the work expectations, life expectations, things calling us from afar, you know, businesses and stuff like that. You know, it's just, it can be crazy. Oh, I'm going to use this one. I like this one. Reminds me of the tape. So yeah, be good to yourself. You deserve it. You deserve some time to relax. So take it. And I am so glad you are taking this time to do this with me right now to play. Now again, if you don't have these materials, use pencil crayons, use watercolors, use whatever you have. And guess what? You'll have a good time. That's the key. I kind of like all of a sudden I'm doing this and I kind of drew this pink one where I'm kind of extending the line out, you know, from edge to edge. I kind of like that idea. So I'm going to play with it a bit more. There we go. If you find with your acrylics, you know, you need to do another coat with it, do another coat. I'm going to do a blue. So these are all kind of pastel-y except for this bright yellow. I'm going to, oh, see, here's that pumper one. The pumper one. I'm priming it off, so I'm actually going on the piece of paper like this. And then all of a sudden, what will happen? Oh, they want me to shake first. Okay, so I got to mix up all the paint with the other stuff. Okay? So you want to shake, 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 shake. Then go and prime. Do that. See? And now the tip is blue. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is This one's much more liquidy. Yeah, wow. Very interesting. So you see, supplies are different. Just because they're called acrylic markers, you can't say you don't like them, because you know what? A different brand might do it a different way. So, even with pencil crayons now. You know, before, remember, we just had the ones we had in school. And they were like, oh my goodness. They were good. And you know, some people create really good art with it. But then there is some that they're soft. They actually are wonderfully built to blend. So you can take colors and mix them together to create other colors. And it is just a beautiful sight to see. So, yeah. So pencil crayons are different. And as you can see, these art markers are different. So do what works and find something that works for you. The bad thing is art can be pretty expensive, but you can start yourself off with some pretty basic supplies and go from there. I noticed this is kind of pilling the paper. See, I've got little paper on it right there. See, that's paper. Okay. So neat, 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 neat. I think I'm going to repeat those colors now. Yeah, I'm going to repeat those colors. Let's get this guy going again. Gotta watch, it's still wet right over there. I'm going to go thick there. Yeah, and come down like that. I talk to myself sometimes when I'm doing my artwork. It's like, you know, just kind of figuring it out. And that's what art is. It's one big puzzle. You have to figure things out. And that's where the creativity comes from. You are a creative person. And you think, no, I'm just copying your work right now. Well, I always told my students that the old masters of old, naturally, they learned from another master. And how they learned from that master was that they copied his work. And I say his because majority of times, well, a lot, like 99% time in the past, in the 1500s, 16, 17, it was males that were the artists. They would then learn from their master. And part of the learning came from recreating how the master created. So you would have these young artists creating their paints like the master created his paints. And it went like that. And they would only do what the master did. And then when they became a master, they could expand and do things the way they wanted to. A lot of times in art history, when you have some scholars trying to figure out a person's work, they have to differentiate between, is this the student's work or is this the master's work? Because sometimes the students were awfully good at recreating what their masters created. That's pretty cool. And I actually encouraged my students. I started this, but I didn't finish the point. But I wanted them to learn from visuals that they liked. They learned how to draw, they learned how to paint and all that. But I would encourage them to pick images that someone else had created that they liked and then try and recreate it. This would often be done on what I would call sketchbook days. So they were free to create whatever they wanted. And with that, they did. And they created some amazing things. But the learning was immeasurable. It was wonderful. It was intense. It was really, really cool. And they grew as an artist. So don't be hard on yourself when you say, well, I'm just kind of copying someone. You copy to learn the skills. And when you're good enough and you know the skills, that's when you start recreating things in a new way. You're taking all that you've learned over the years and you make it your own. That is beautiful. And that is what all inventions have been in our history of our lifetime. They have been because things are built one on top of another. Like someone created the wheel for the first time. That, maybe the Egyptians used logs to roll the heavy stones that they did. I mean, that was amazing. So, you have to perhaps see it that way, that things are built on top of another. And you will find that just by experimenting and playing, you will find that you will like something. And you'll like it a lot. And you'll like it more than you like other things. Yay. That's what you want. Because then what happens is you will say, I'm going to focus on this. And by focusing on one medium or one way of doing things, your own way, right? Like what we were saying before, you will then create something new. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's beautiful. So I'm using, instead of the green, I want a little bit, the blue kind of pops up. Because we're using a lot of warm colors. So the blue, I thought, would be nice. Now, with these ones, you have to shake every now and again. So you just kind of get everything flowing and you do it again. That's why I think the other ones were invented. There we go. Here we go. Got the flow here. Because people didn't like shaking them. The first ones were the oil-based ones. And they had to be shaken like this. And the acrylic ones first started like this as well, where everything had to be shaken. So you're mixing the materials, you're mixing the color and everything together. The binders and all that other good stuff that creates acrylics. Then they created these guys, okay? And then all these other rich and delicious markers came along. Yeah, so it's amazing what variety there is now in art supplies. Now, I could make things a little different. Yeah, I think I'm going to. I'm going to add a blue dot here. Do I see it? Well, I want it bigger. There we go. I'm going to do a blue dot here, kind of in the corner, but not really, right? A blue dot, a big dot here, kind of using that space, that curve right here. Sometimes you need to go over the acrylics on the paints twice. Sometimes you don't. There we go, right over there. And let's do a big one here. Why am I doing dots? I don't know. I just thought it would add visual interest. And I'm going to add a little guy there. A little guy here. I'm trying to do some balancing, right? Now I could create little dots around here. What's nice about this one is it makes really nice dots. Kind of going over the other color, I don't care. And should I do it with all of them? Yeah, I think I should. Why not? I'll try the small ones, and we might leave the big one like that, right? We might. We don't know unless we try, right? Did your parents say, we just want you to try? Yeah, just try. Oh, I'm going to do this a little different. I'm going to take, I'm going to take the yellow, and I'm going to draw lines coming straight out. Don't know why. My intuition just said, do that. So I'm doing it. Now, the yellow's not going to show up a bit, and that's okay. You can outline it in black if you want. You can outline your lines in black. You can do whatever you want. I'm just doing it this way. I'm choosing not to outline, but outlines would be cool. I like to outline a lot of things. Some of my watercolors, people who know my work will, when I'm drawing people and that type of thing, I like drawing the lines. It's just the way I am. There we go. Okay. Should we add some yellow here? I'm going to add a yellow one here. Now, it's thick enough. That's nice. See, it's not going to go green. It's going to go yellow. Now, you might have to do 2 coats, as I am kind of doing here, to make it show up. There we go. Okay, the reason why I chose the yellow is because I did the yellow outsides. So, let's take it off. Let's go. Let's figure out how I did it. There shouldn't be any bleeding with this because the markers do not have that much moisture. That's what's fun about them, right? Oops, I'm just took the whole thing apart. I just love taking a frame off of these things. Oh, just makes me happy. It just looks so cool when it's done, you know? It looks finished. Looks like it has a white frame on it. That type of thing. So there you go. There's our third one. There we go. We have finished all 3. Some of them took a little longer than I was expecting, but that was just me because I was adding a little here and there. But the whole idea is for you to take moments, just little bits of time, to be good to yourself, to put the world away. And I know I say that kind of a lot, but I really do. Like even right now, I've got other things on my mind. But you know, when I was here with you doing this, I didn't think of anything else. Yeah, and that made me feel much better. I mean, I'm still sick, but it made me feel much better. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time and being good to yourself. And I suggest just take little moments of time. And they don't have to be works of art. It's just to play. Just to test out materials and to say, you know what, I'm just going to create. I'm going to create like I was a kid again. Just for the purpose of having fun. It's a concept. Well, you know, you think, wow, just to have fun. As adults, we adult a lot. We need to re-engage with that inner child. And in psychology, they say everyone has an inner child. And it's you as you were younger. Because there's still things when you were young that weren't healed and all that other stuff. But there's you right now that's just saying, I would just love some time to myself. I would just love some time just to play with my art again. Here's the time. Take that 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and just start. You know, you might not even finish what you were starting, but you started. And you can always catch on next week if need be, or the next day. 10 minutes before you go to sleep. Set the clock 15 minutes before you are supposed to wake up, or before the kids get up. Do that. You need to take care of yourself, and you are worth it. You take care of so many other people. You need to fill your own well. You can't give water to others if your own well is empty. So you can't give the fullness of who you are if you haven't taken care of your own needs. And like they say on the airplanes, put your own oxygen mask on first. Right? Then you can take care of others. So thank you again for joining me. I wish you love, I wish you peace, and I wish you moments, that you allow yourself moments just to sit and play. Stick on for a little bit longer, and I have a 1-card oracle reading. Here we go. Take care. Here we are for our little oracle reading. This is Renegade Mama. They have a whole line of wonderful cards. They have Women's Empowerment Deck, which is this, Pregnancy and Birthing Support Deck, Postpartum Support Deck, Positive Messages for Kids, and Mindful Affirmations for Parenting. They are at www.therenegademama.com. Facebook and Instagram, they are at The Renegade Mama. And on Etsy, they are, guess what? The Renegade Mama. Okay, here we go. 1 card pull. These are the ladies that created it. Okay. Oh, I pulled that card. So we're going to get 2 cards today. It came with that one. So let's see what that one's about too. Okay. I'm going to pull another one that, as I said, I love these because they've got little words and little fun little sketch and important little messages on them. They're a little bit bigger cards. I've got big hands. They're a little tricky, but you know, you don't have to shuffle the way I do it. You can shuffle them in, some people do kind of a deck piling. So they'll cut the deck, right? And cut the deck, and then cut the deck, and then cut the deck. So you can shuffle them that way, right? So I'm going to keep this one because that one kind of popped into my hand. And we're taking, oh, this one. That's the one I wanted. Popped out. So this is the one I just drew here. This is, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I can achieve anything. Butter is for transformation. Her arms, in art, when lines go like this, that means movement and growth. And she's got kind of some spirals This is very joyful, these lines. So, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I can achieve anything. Yes. And the one that came to my hands when we first picked up the cards was, oh my goodness, wow. Inhale, exhale, one moment at a time. Oh my gosh. All these words are going through her head. Hard, be good. A house, patient, be kind, be a good wife. Wait, you should. Eat better. Costco. Interest board. Shave your legs. No TV. Sit down. Wow. Work hard. Yep. Inhale. Exhale. One moment at a time. What beautiful, beautiful reminders. Have a wonderful day and have a wonderful week.